The 2025 college football regular season is in the books, but have no fear. There's conference championship trophies on the line, college football playoff spots to play for, and bets to be made. Welcome to our college football conference championship best bets episode. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the DGen Docs here on the DFSG Plus channel. What is up, folks? College football championship weekend, conference championship weekend, that is. We got a lot on the line to play for. The full slates are wrapped up. We had 14 weeks of amazing football. Now it's playoff time, baby. What is up, folks? I am the DGen Doc, one of your hosts here, but more importantly, I am joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, aka Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Not as good as you. You ended up with a snow day. Welcome to the Midwest, my brother.
Yes, apparently those snow days are real. Coming from Florida, I did not know that was a thing, but hey, I will take it. Never bad to wake up to a text. Roads are too icy. Your safety is more important. Stay home. So thank you, U.S. Army, for caring about the troops there. But
Did you go sled riding on your day off?
I did not. I've experienced what it's like
on.
to clear your driveway and make sure your wife has a place to get in because she unfortunately does have to go to work. So shoveling snow, not as fun as it looks, but hey, glories of being a homeowner, right? Look, folks, we are here to talk conference championships here in the college football streets. What is up, folks? If this is your first time joining us, cheers to you. Shout out to you. Never too late to jump on the DGen Doc bandwagon family here. But if you've been rocking with us all year, double cheers to you. Even on a Tuesday, get yourself a nice something strong because we're going to talk ball today. And the way this is going to work, we're going to stick with our 6-pack format, not the traditional 6-pack you think of when you talk about college football. Not in the tailgate sense, but in the betting streets, because we are breaking down our top 6 games from a betting standpoint. Now, to be fair, there is only, I think, 8 or 9 conference championships if you include all the entire FBS level. So we picked all the Power 4 and the 2 most interesting group of 5 that actually could have some playoff ramifications. So that's what we're going with today. A little bit easier, but we'll do the 16 breakdown. We are going to talk some coaching carousel news, give out our final CFP predictions. Not a lot of changes you'd imagine. Nope. And then the best part, of course, our best bets, where we give out a lock, a moneyline dog, a parlay, and a tease. All bets are assumed to be 1 unit except for the lock, which is 2. All right, man, let's get into some takeaways.
Sure.
We're going to talk a lot kind of about different things, but I want to talk about how college football is awesome in the sense that, part of the college football playoff and like what expanding to 12 team means is more games matter, right? You're not just playing for what's basically a meaningless bowl game. The Iron Bowl was going on. Auburn wins, Alabama gets knocked out
down
of
to the wild.
Right? Not only were they fighting for this SEC championship slot, but a playoff slot. Like, there's a lot on the line there. That one came down to the wire. Bama went up big, and then Auburn fought back. And, if they had any competency at quarterback, they probably win that game. Right. And then on the other side, ACC, SMU out there in Cal, which thank you, Cal, plus 410 on the money line. But they took care of SMU. That game was down to the wire. SMU had a kick to tie it up late there after being down a ton. Crazy fourth quarter comeback. So those 2 games going on simultaneously, like right before midnight. Just amazing college football slate. What's your takeaway there from a week 14 that had a lot to offer?
Yeah, I mean, as a fan of the Ohio State University, I was solely focused on that one for the majority of the day, and then once that game was over, it was just like, hey,
we got the monkey off your back there.
Exactly, the ape off of their backs, basically. But no, going into the weekend, I kept saying, like, I want a little bit of chaos outside of one game, right? And we didn't get a ton at the end of the day. Texas knocking off Texas A&M was easily the biggest one.
Annoying. Yep.
Overall, most of the power teams that are really vying for one of those spots kind of took care of business. Oklahoma came down to the wire against LSU
Woo!
there.
Got LSU plus
that was a
9.5,
close
and that
one.
money line was right there,
It
man.
was right there.
And that would have helped out Vanderbilt a ton.
Oh, no doubt about it. But
oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I mean, you're right. I mean, especially come week 13 or 14, whatever it is, rivalry weekend, there's just nothing like it. I mean,
Dude,
between the
so
Iron
good.
Bowl, the Egg Bowl, the game.
My Gators can beat a team even at 3-8, stomping
right.
down Florida State. Always
Yep.
as bad as your season goes as a fan, or but like that
Yes.
rivalry weekend, like again, 3-8, like that made me feel good. Like getting,
Yes.
we're historically bad, but we're still better than FSU. Going back to the game,
Yeah.
how were you feeling after those first two drives?
Oh my
Michigan
gosh, dude.
runs the ball a little bit. First play, they get like a 30-yard rush. The snow's coming down. You're thinking, oh boy, holds them to a field goal, and then a first pass, Julian Sand intercepted, almost a pick six. What are your thoughts at that point? Were you not worried because of this team, or were you thinking, good Lord, here we go again?
No, I mean, it was one of those things like every year, it doesn't really matter if, the Buckeyes are the number 1 ranked team, number 15 ranked team, they're unranked. Like whenever they play that team up north, you get amped up. Like it's a college football playoff game. Like it's ride or die either way. And as soon as that started happening, it's like, are you shitting me? Is this going to happen for a 5th straight year? Are you kidding me? Like this is not going well. But at the end of the day, you start off returning a kick to the Ohio State's 40, and then you throw a pick six, or not a pick six, but a pick in your own on your own side of the field, and your defense comes up and gets 2 massive stops. So even after the pick, once the defense held both of those drives to 6 points, it's like, okay, the offense is going to get going, or should. The defense is playing really well still. So it was one of those, like, you still kind of second guessed it because of what's happened the last 4 years. But as a whole, knowing how the team's played pretty much the entire season, or at least on the defensive side, it wasn't like, oh shit, this is done for. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I ultimately walked away with a pretty easy win there. Dominated them the rest of the way. So, shout out Ryan Day and the Buckeyes for getting it done. All right, let's talk, since we're talking week 14, rivalry weekend, let's just continue on with our record recap here. So, both pretty good, solid days. 3-3 for you, but you did hit your teaser to get you profitable. Another 4-2 day for myself. Hit the moneyline dog in those Vanderbilt Commodores, who I think should get a shot in the playoffs. But at this
they look
point,
really good.
At this point, it's
although
not going to happen.
Pavia had a couple interceptions. I mean, that guy, if he doesn't make his way to New York, there's something wrong with.
He's currently the betting favorite. A lot of public steam has picked up. Someone we've been on the whole time, but he's got to at least be in New York, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's at least top 4, if not top 3. I think it really just depends on how this Big Ten championship goes.
Yeah,
if
probably will
Mendoza and Sayin both ball out, I think it goes to the winner. But I would say Pavia is probably the third guy there.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. They've got another opportunity and a huge stage to kind of show what they can do. I think that's a fair assessment there. All right, so that was the week, but end of the regular season. Real quick, just want to do a quick recap. Because we kind of crushed it. We did an episode before the season, obviously, preseason episode, went through our favorite futures for each division, and then we gave out some, futures picks. Shout out to you first. You gave out 2 college football playoff teams to make it at some plus money, and you went 2 for 2. My friend, you hit Texas Tech to make the playoff at plus 450. I think even with a loss at 11-1, they're in. So we're going to call that a winner there, to the point you can't even bet on them because it's such a lock. And then Texas A&M in the same vein, plus 220 to make the playoffs. So nice, almost 7 units there for yourself. So shout out to you, brother. Cheers there. And then on the other side, we gave out 2 futures. I went with more of the win totals for each division. So gave out 10 Power 4, 10 including 2 for the G group of 5. 8-2 on there. So hopefully
Solid
you
run there,
cashed. I know
for
FSU
sure.
came in recently. Iowa State came in recently with the over. Washington came in. That was it. A
Couple weeks
lot
ago,
of these hit pretty early, which was nice. But 8-2 and 2 for 2 on the college football playoff pick. So hopefully you're in on that because the cashing started before the season. So
Heck yeah, it
make
did.
sure next year we do the weekly episodes for sure, but we will do a preseason episode you do not want to miss out on. And I know you've got one pending there in Bama to win the SEC.
Yeah.
And I think 3-1 or something like that.
Want
So
to pigeonhole my way into a pick this week for sure.
a little bit, some of these futures, and I'm in a similar sense, but I think I've kind of talked myself out of it. Maybe I'm hedging a little bit. We'll
Okay.
see. But all right, let's talk coaches, man. There has been a
A
huge
lot of
amount.
talk over the last week or so, and a
Good
lot of
Lord.
movement since we
I think
last
we'll use this
spoke.
graphic. This is shout out to a guy on Twitter, CF something Budge or Sudge. I don't know. He's got his and the logo's there. Yeah, Budge. There it is. I don't like to discredit people for their work. But he made a nice graphic. These are his grades, but I'm really just showing just to kind of look at all the movement that's been going on.
Yeah.
We'll kind of go piece by piece here very quickly, but I just wanted to know, like, up or down, like, did they improve or did they get worse? So obviously these are this random guy's grades, so kind of disregard that. But going through here, let's start with the biggest name, LSU. Obviously Brian Kelly left, and then they had the whole courtship of who it was going to be, and
Sure.
they swooped in and they got Lane Kiffin. Better or worse is LSU than they were at this point, last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably better. I mean, I think the course had kind of ran through with Brian Kelly, and Lane
Right.
Kiffin's the guy that, I mean, hell, he brought in some major recruits to Ole Miss, whether it's through your typical high school recruiting or through the transfer protocol. So I think, obviously the biggest name going down to LSU, probably one of the biggest recruiting centers in the nation. I think he's going to do well there, but massive change to Ole Miss's standing in the college football playoff potentially.
Yeah, and I will say this. I mean, high variance play here, right?
Yeah.
I think that there is a floor at LSU with your
Yeah.
recruiting and your talent will provide.
Right.
However, the expectation is
It's
insane. I
massive.
mean, these
Yes.
fans are expecting like him to be in the
That's very
CFP
true.
every year
Right.
and multiple natties, in the next 5-10 years.
Right.
Kiffin's never won an SEC championship.
Yep.
He's never really won, like, he's a winner, but he's
Yep.
never won anything of significance.
Right.
So I just think that, and look, I'm a Florida fan, obviously. I wanted Kiffin, but when we see everything that went down, I mean, he was burning it on the way down. He gave the ultimatum of either you let me coach out the rest of the CFP or I'm taking all of the
everybody.
players and coaches, right? Which is kind of insane. I mean, one thing for like us to let someone at Tulane or North Texas to do it, but you're a rival with this LSU. Like,
Right.
you can't really allow that. You got to understand that. So for that to go on, and let's not forget LSU's administration right now is not the most stable. They have interim president, interim AD, the governor's involved. Like, this is a very messy situation, which is kind of when I look back, like Florida also, no president. We have an AD that we hate. Probably not a great situation. And it came out basically he didn't like Strickland, which no one likes Scott Strickland.
Right.
But Lane Kiffin was a god at Ole Miss.
No doubt.
He got everything, and he kept asking for more and more and more.
Yep.
Let's not forget, Ed Ogeron got fired moments after winning an old national championship because of messing around with co-eds and doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen like the Lane files come out. Like, dude, Lane Kiffin is going to mess around with co-eds, do a bunch of drugs, and do dumb shit. Like, I'm sorry, that's just what it is at this point. So, highly combustible situation, but if it hits, it will be a national championship.
Right.
But if it not, like, this dude may wind up like it may get ugly really fast. So definitely the most intriguing. I do think from a coaching perspective, I don't know if Lane Kiffin is that much better of a coach than Brian Kelly. I think he's better in the recruiting realm. And I think he's more suited for this era.
Yep.
So I do give him a little bit of an upgrade because the Kelly situation went stale. All right, we'll go much quicker through the rest of these. I want to talk about Florida a little bit. Obviously, being a
Yeah.
Florida
What
guy.
What are your thoughts of John Summerall coming over
Yeah.
from Tulane there?
So look, he started no fault to his own. He started on a bad foot with a lot of the fan base because of the Kiffin situation,
Sure.
essentially fumbling that situation with Scott Strickland, and because of the Billy Napier PTSD, let's call it.
Yeah.
Group
Yeah.
of five coach coming from Louisiana, a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
When you start peeling it back, I think he's nothing like Billy Napier. I think you see it in the press conference, but like you want to give the guy a fair shake. Now, this is a bit of a risk, right? Like you go from an unproven guy to an unproven guy. You can't really say he's proven. He's only been at Tulane 2 years, and he took over a program that Willie Fritz had humming.
Yep.
However, this dude's team got raided in the portal. I mean,
Yep.
just look at we played him in a bowl game last year, and we beat him pretty handedly.
Yep.
They lost Makai Hughes. They lost Darian Mensah. Like their
Yep.
entire team got raided,
Right.
and he has them back in the AAC championship
Yep.
at 10-2, right? So like I do think that he's got a lot of good quality. He's been has some SEC experience as a player and
Right.
a coach at Kentucky. So I really just think it's going to depend to the offensive coordinator hiring because he's a defensive guy, which
Right.
we just got Brad White from Kentucky, which if you're a Florida fan, you should know who he is because we beat Kentucky 31 years prior to 2018 in a row. 31 times we beat them. And Brad White gets on the defensive staff. 2018, he's outside linebacker coach. 2019, defensive coordinator. We're 3-5 against Kentucky in those years.
Yep.
We were only held to 22 points a game. So you should know who Brad White is. And if you
Yep.
don't, be excited about that hire. But it's all OC and retain the roster.
Sure.
Because we have talent, right? So, I mean, right now it's a little bit hard to grade, but anything's better than Billy Napier is what I will say on the Florida front.
Fair enough.
All right. I've talked way too much. My fault.
Yeah.
So let's get through. I'm just going to ask you the coach, the name. You tell me upgrade or downgrade.
Okay.
Auburn, Hugh Freeze to Alex Golesh.
I would probably say that's an upgrade. I don't know a ton about Golesh, to be honest with you, but
I like him coming over.
I was going to say Hugh Freeze had kind of run his course down there at Auburn, and
he was terrible.
And just wasn't productive in the few years that he was there. So
yeah, no, I like Golesh. Arkansas, pull Pork Pittman to Sam Pittman there to Silverfield from Memphis.
I think this is kind of a horizontal move, to be honest with you. It's nothing too flashy. I don't necessarily think that he's going to take him to the next step.
I think it's downgrade. I mean, dude, Memphis they've had one of the best NIL packages. Like they have one of the most money in the AAC. True. He hasn't won a championship. He hasn't even made the championship game. So I think it's downgrade. But yeah. All right, Kentucky from Stoops to now Will Stein. This is a new one. Oregon offensive coordinator. Mark Stoops to Will Stein.
I would say this is another horizontal move here. I think as a whole, Oregon's offense has looked pretty good over the last couple of years, but I just don't know if Kentucky's going to necessarily be a winning football program as a whole.
I mean, I have major question marks here. This is just a fat question mark for me.
Yeah.
The offense, which has been pretty bad of recent, is probably going to be better. But Mark Stoops, let's be honest. I mean, this was a terrible football program.
Yep.
Again, Florida beat him 31 times in a row. That doesn't happen by accident.
Right.
And he took that school, which is mostly a basketball school,
and made them somewhat relevant,
right? In the SEC, which is hard to do.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people are just seeing him that they're seeing this new flashy guy who was a Louisville former quarterback, but Kentucky fan apparently. Yeah. Offense may get better, but man, be careful what you wish for getting Mark Stoops out of the door. He really kind of did a lot for this program. All right, a couple other ones here. Virginia Tech, Brent Pry to James Franklin.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite hire of this cycle, to be honest with you. I think that James Franklin's going to go down there and really resurrect that Virginia Tech program as a whole to where they were in the early 2000s.
Dude, that's such a good hire. I mean, he's already flipped a couple commits. He flipped a quarterback and a wide receiver today. Wow. Penn State. They were going from James Franklin to rumored for Kaloni Sitake.
Yeah.
But he apparently BYU and Crumble Cookie CIO and a bunch of their boosters came in. No official word yet as we're recording this, but they seem like almost a done deal. And then BYU rallied around that and seems to be keeping him now. So, and then now Jeff Brom may be the guy there, but I like Jeff Brom as a coach, but man, it seems like Penn State is settling.
Right.
All right, my favorite hire, Colorado State from Norvell to Jim
Jim
Mora.
Mora. Yeah.
Dude, I think Jim Mora is a really good coach. I
I
mean,
do too.
UConn, we've talked about him on this
Yeah.
show. They 9-3, overperformed. Like Colorado State was a dumpster fire the last couple seasons.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no idea how Jim Mora they
Most
got
of the
Jim
last
Mora.
2
Like,
decades.
yeah, like this from like a Jim Mora standpoint, this makes no sense to me.
No.
To go from UConn to Colorado State, I get the Mountain West is established, and I like the Mountain West, but
Right.
man, I thought he could have got a P4 job. Maybe
Right.
wow. I good for Colorado State. I'll say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's a great fucking hire.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if you're Penn State, why not offer a Jim Mora the position there?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's good. All right. Unless you have anything to say about OK State, Stanford, Oregon State, Kent State, I think a lot of those guys are pretty unknown. You know,
Right.
obviously OK State losing a legend in Mike Gundy, and then going to
Right.
Eric Morris, who is going to be in a game we're about to talk about with being the North Texas coach. Stanford, you
Could
know what,
could
Frank
be
Wright.
could be a nice hire. I think it just all depends on what he can do in Oklahoma State. Oklahoma
Right.
State's still little brother to Oklahoma there.
It's
So
hard to be the guy after the guy, is what I will
right.
say. Mike Gundy
Yes.
was the guy
100%.
there. The mullet was there for a long time. Don't know why
Yep.
they fired him during the season just to go 1-11 anyway. But
Right.
so that's going to be interesting to see how that fan base reacts to that.
Right.
Stanford bringing in the Commanders quarterback coach in Tavita Pritchard,
Yep.
and who was a Stanford guy, and Oregon
Right.
State from Bray to Jamarcus Shepard. So yeah, and then Kent State keeping Mark Carney, which Mark Carney, if you played attention to the MAC at all, actually did a pretty damn good job there for a
Yeah. Especially Kent State.
traditionally horrible Kent State team. So hey, look, that's the coaching hires. We said we were also going to quickly go through our CFP predictions here, and then we will get to these games to break them down and start making some money. So our
Yep.
final CFP predictions here. Not a lot of change, not a lot of difference at this point because I
No.
mean most of the teams are set. Big
Right.
difference here up top a little bit that we'll talk about that game. We're talking about the Big Ten Championship, so that's the reason why there might be a change in who's at the number 1 to number 3. But I do think both those teams are safe to get a bye at 12-0 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They should be, in that opinion. And then we'll talk there. Obviously, the bigger ones is going to be North Texas, Tulane is the difference there. So
Yep.
maybe we don't spend a ton of time talking about this because we're going to break those games down
Yep.
here in a second. But that's the
Yep.
final CFP predictions. A lot of
Let's-
it's set.
So one thing I do want to ask you is, with Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss, do you think they'll still stick around like that 7-8 range, or do you think because they lose their head coach, their GM, I think their offense or defensive coordinator, they drop them down even further?
Well, so they just announced that the OC, Charlie Weiss Jr., is coaching
OC.
for the CFP,
Okay.
but he may still be on Lane Kiffin's staff. I don't know. This is a whole.
It's so strange.
Yeah, this is wild. But I mean, like, look, they did the whole Jordan Travis thing a few years ago,
Right.
which, as a Florida fan, was hilarious, but objectively was straight bullshit. I don't think you can. I mean, yeah, I don't. How much are you going to punish them? Are you going to take them out with a one loss SEC?
I don't think you take him out, but if they stick at, we both have him an 8. That's a home playoff game.
Right. I
So
think they deserve it, but I
I do
agree
too.
with you. Like, from a handicapping standpoint, I'm taking it into effect. You have a first-time coordinator who's never been a head coach before.
Right.
And they might get a 1-game bump, but like national championship wise, I don't think they have a chance in hell.
Right.
With all this going on. So I think that it's a tough call, but I think that ultimately they're going to get a home playoff game, and I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah.
And the only other thing we can talk about is Vanderbilt and BYU, the
Sure.
two teams who are likely going to be on the outside. I think
Right.
it sucks. I think Vanderbilt deserves it. You could probably make the argument for Miami.
Yeah, I think the only way that either of them get in is if Duke knocks off Virginia, and then that Power 4 team doesn't get in, because I don't think there's a,
because they won't put in JMU. Well,
right.
no, I think no. They technically have to put in the top 5 conference champs.
Is it top 5 conference champ?
Yeah, so it's either going to be Duke or JMU.
I thought it was okay. You're right,
because they got to do the 5 or
yeah,
and the highest rated G5, I guess. Huh. Yeah,
It's
but I
it's
think it has
definitely
to
it's definitely
be
one G5, but
right.
you're right. It might be James Madison over Duke. And
Right.
James Madison's what, 11-1?
No, they're yeah, 11-1. Yeah,
11-1, they'd be
12
12-1. I mean, they're favored by like 23 this
yeah.
weekend. So assuming that James Madison wins, do they put James Madison in over an ACC champ?
I still think they put the ACC champion, whether it's Duke or not, dude. I
Yeah,
just think that I mean, do I think James Madison can beat Duke? Yes. I think they're probably a better team. Do
yeah,
I think that the college football playoff is all about money and corporate greed?
yeah.
Yes. So I think that in that standpoint, like should
You're right.
James Madison get in over Duke? Yes. Will they? No.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a lot part of the reason why we need to get rid of this bullshit committee who clearly doesn't watch the games. But yeah, that's a good question. All right, let's talk about some games here. Let's make
So,
some money.
so
Let's get after it
yeah,
here.
6
It
bangers
is
here coming up this weekend.
six pack, baby. College football six pack. Because we got conference championship weekend. And these games still matter because of college football playoff implications and because it's more football to bet on. So let's go ahead and jump on in here with game number one. We got some Friday games. This is Friday, December the 5th. We
Yep.
got two 8 p.m. games we're going to talk about. First one up, the AAC, American Athletic Conference here. We are talking the 11-1 North Texas, the Mean Green, or no, what the fuck are they? Hold on. I'm like now I'm like, oh geez, I'm the typical. Oh, it is the Mean Green. Good,
It's
thank
Mean Green.
goodness. That was almost terrible. I was like, I'm someone who
Mean
likes
Green
the
versus the Green
G5,
Wave.
and I'm
We got
like,
a couple green teams.
yeah, really. Good lord. And versus 10-2, Tulane, Green Wave there. North Texas is laying 2.5. They are minus 135 on the money line as a road favorite. Over under sitting at 67.5. It's kind of been bouncing around 66.
Yep.
Tulane catching 2.5 plus 114 as a home dog here. This is going to be at Ullman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's going to be mid 50s and periods of rain throughout the game there because this will not be played in a dome and be played
Yep.
outside like football is intended. So, where are we going in this one? Huge implications. This is the favorite, either of these teams. The winner is the expected CFP slot, whether it's Tulane or North Texas. Where are we
Right.
going here? Big game.
It's a massive game, and I think basically to me this comes down to one thing. I mean, one of these teams has the top rated offense in the country when it comes to yards per game, as well as scoring offense. And that's North Texas. I mean, they just put up points left and right. Their defense plays well enough to where they're gonna get some stops, and surprisingly, if you're putting up almost 47 points a game, and over 500 yards, you would think their pass defense would suck because the other team would have to be throwing the ball and throwing the ball and throwing the ball. This is a top 10 pass defense as well, only giving up 165 yards a game. So I think Tulane, has a pretty competent offense, pretty solid defense at the end of the day. But I just think that Mestamaker and Hawkins just get things rolling. I mean,
Yeah,
Caleb
quarterback.
Hawkins, Caleb Hawkins, to me, is one of the best running backs in college football this season. And like you said, Mestamaker's a pretty solid quarterback in his own right. So, yeah, give me the North Texas Mean Green to get a big win and make their way into the college football playoff.
Look, okay. Messmaker is a stud. He kind of came out of nowhere in the bowl game last season, and he's been riding that wave the whole time.
Yeah,
No pun intended. But
he is going to be riding the wave.
I have a future on North Texas to
Yeah,
make
you
this
do.
college football playoff at 7-1. I want North Texas to win this game. However, I'm going with Tulane. Give me the home dog
Ooh.
here on
Okay.
Friday night. So I first off, because a lot of there's comments and people are talking.
Yep.
John Summerall was with Florida and distracted, blah, blah, blah. Eric Morris is in the exact same situation. Eric Morris has accepted the job at Oklahoma State.
Yep.
John Summerall has accepted a job at University of Florida.
Yep.
Both are going to allow them to coach until their season's over. It's Friday, obviously, and then whoever wins is going to coach in the college football playoff, right? So a lot has been made about, because it happened more recently, about John Summerall being at Florida and the distractions.
Right.
Eric Morris, I mean, he was there for a press conference introduction, and he went to practice in Tulane that morning, went to Florida to do the introductory press conference, and then flew back that same night. So we're talking about like 6 hours in Gainesville. Eric Morris was in Stillwater the same day doing the same fucking shit. So I think that is getting overblown a lot. And then the other thing here is talk about the rain, right? The conditions. A little bit colder, a little bit of rain, some wind, a little bit harder to throw the ball in. North Texas, absolutely arguably the best offense in college football this year from a yards and points per game perspective. They are a pass heavy offense. So if the weather conditions in an outside stadium are going to be like that, I tend to look at how are they against the run. They are a top 10 worst rush defense in the FBS. And meanwhile, when we look on the Tulane side of the ball, they have a good rush defense. They have a susceptible pass defense. Perfect conditions in a dome, I do think North Texas can put it on them. But I think in an ugly environment, give me Tulane. They're undefeated at home this season, and they are 2-0 against North Texas in the past 2 years. I also have questions about North Texas and the quality of teams. They've only been 2 teams in their conference with a winning record. We saw what happened when they played a good team in USF. They got beat at home by 30. So I still think this North Texas team is fraudulent. I do not understand why they're laying points as a road favorite. Give me Tulane here plus the 2.5. I think Summerall gets it done. I'll be rooting for him as a new Gators coach there. It's kind of honestly rocking a hard place because I want him to get to Florida to start recruiting and all that stuff. Sure. But I also want to prove that he's a good coach and get the fan base in or whatever. But objectively, I wanted to be on North Texas for a couple of reasons. But the rain, the weather, and the home environment puts me on Tulane.
That's all right. When Caleb Hawkins is averaging 7 yards a carry and carrying the ball 20 times, and
that is
it's not going to matter.
And we'll see, weather on a Tuesday for a Friday is a little bit hard. I mean, shit, they told us in Kansas City it wasn't going to start raining until, 8 a.m. And I wake up at 7 and it's already covered. So who knows there? It's hard to trust the weather at times. But give me Tulane. But you were on North Texas there. I love starting the episode off with a little bit of disagreement.
Right.
Hey, someone's going to win. So we will see there. All right, next game up in the group of 5, Mountain West, baby. You're talking Mountain West and a team that is no longer going to be in the Mountain West in the Boise State Broncos, looking to get another title there. But we've got the 10-2 UNLV Running Rebels taking on the 8-4 Boise State Broncos there. Gotta love when an 8-4 team is hosting against a 10-2 team. Mountain West, people are talking about the ACC. Mountain West, look at their tiebreaker scenarios because San Diego State's pissed. New Mexico's pissed. There's some teams with Hawaii. There's some teams with some valid arguments there. But this is the game, and it's going to be played at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, December 5th. It is on the Smurf turf. You've got the Running Rebs in UNLV catching 3.5, -105, +150 on the money line. Boise State laying -3.5, -115, -180 at home. Over and under sitting at 57.5. It's going to be mid-40s and raining in Albertson Stadium there in Boise, Idaho.
Yep.
Where are we going in this one?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this game as a whole, if I look at UNLV, I think UNLV is one of the luckiest teams as a whole this football season. I mean, they squeaked out a 3-point win against Air Force. They squeaked out a win in double overtime to Utah State. They got their ass kicked by the Rainbow Warriors a couple weeks ago.
They
ended up winning. Yes, you're right. Yeah. But anyways, as a whole, they haven't beaten shit. And their 2 losses is to New Mexico at home and to this Boise State team in Boise. Yep. They lost by 24 or 25.
Yep.
We just saw this game a month and a half ago.
Yep.
Exact same game, and I just don't know necessarily see where this point spread is coming from. Like I said, we just saw this game a couple months ago. It was a 25-point victory. I mean, they couldn't stop Boise State at all.
Yep.
So give me the Boise State again at home, laying the 3.5. I think this one could get ugly.
Yeah, and I would say, from to your point, bet this now if you agree with both of us, because I will also be on Boise State here. This opened at, I think, 1.5. I saw it, but
Yeah,
I know I grabbed it at
it's
two
starting
and
to
a
creep up.
half earlier this week, and it's only Tuesday, and this number's already growing. So if you're on Boise, I would get them now. And
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I
What
think
do you think this closes at? 5.5?
yeah, I would probably say, because I think there's some fours even out there already.
Yeah.
This is a juice 3.5. So yeah, I would say probably 5.5, 6 at this
Yeah.
point. Just under a touchdown there. We'll see, because I mean it's there's not a lot of games to bet on, so this might get really some steam here. But yeah, I do think Boise State the right side. You're taking a dome team. We're going outside. We're going to
Yep.
the elements. They're going to
Yep.
deal with some rain, right? And we
Yep.
talk about this UNLV defense is awful.
It's awful.
Bottom 25 in defense overall, from a
Yep.
yardage standpoint. They're giving up over 175 yards on the ground. Last time they played Boise, they gave up almost 300 yards just rushing.
Yep.
Their offense is good. They can run the ball and they can throw
They
the
can.
ball, right? But again, going to make them one-dimensional there. A team that relies on the pass a little bit more than Boise does. And like you said, we just saw this game, a month and a half ago. 25-point victory. Boise never trailed in that game.
No.
Like, it was not very close.
31. It wasn't a game.
Yes. And, Maddox Madsen, QB1 for Boise State, is back. Chris Marshall, the wide receiver, came back last week. He's getting healthier. So Boise State's getting healthier at the right time. And they're playing on the Smurf turf.
Right.
It's the last game in the Mountain West. There's no
Yep.
way I'm fading this team, especially against a dome team with
Yep.
some elements there. I'm right with you, brother. Give us Boise State minus the 3.5 in this one. All right, we're moving on to the Saturday slate. We're getting to the Power 4 section of the show. We're starting with the Big 12 Championship. We are talking Saturday, December 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got the 11-1 not Boise, BYU, Brigham Young University Cougars.
There you go.
Taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders there. Both 11-1, but big spread in this one. BYU is catching 12.5 plus 410 on the money line. Over under sitting at 50.5. Tech obviously laying the 12.5 minus 550. Huge favorites there in Arlington, Texas. This is in Jerry's World at AT&T Stadium. It's going to be 50 degrees and partly sunny there, because it is like one of those half domes, open air, where the sun will get in your eyes for stupid reasons and yada, yada, yada. Whatever the hell Jerry's doing there. I did see no official rivalry name, but I did see some fans suggest to call this the Beef and Belief Classic. That's pretty. I thought it was pretty good. Obviously, Texas Tech being the beef and the Mormons being the belief side of that. But where are we going here?
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about another previous matchup, right? I mean, BYU and Texas Tech just played about a month ago, and Texas Tech put it on them 29-7. Well, BYU was sleeping through most of that game. I believe, I think there was like a pick six and a missed field goal and a couple things a couple things that just went against BYU that you're not going to typically see in most games, just high variance kind of stuff. But I do think that BYU gets up for this game. I think Texas Tech and BYU both have probably top 10 defenses in the country. And I think that, especially with this massive spread, I think we have to go BYU in this one. I think Texas Tech has been playing pretty well as of late. Absolutely destroyed West Virginia, destroyed UCF a couple weeks before that. But at the end of the day, I mean, BYU has started to get things rolling again offensively since losing to Texas Tech, putting up 44 and 41 respectively to TCU and UCF. I love BYU in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I am on BYU. I will take the plus 12.5. I think it's too many points. I don't know if I love it because Texas Tech is a scary team.
Yeah.
They beat the shit out of everybody, and they beat the shit out of Boise, or excuse me, out of BYU. But that game was in Lubbock. College game day was there. It was
Yep.
a lot of hype, and
Yep.
then this is a big game. But Texas Tech also knows they're in the playoff no matter what,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Boise
We just
also,
saw that
I
with
guess,
A&M this past week.
BYU knows that they are not in the playoff unless they win this game. So
Correct.
I think they're a little bit more of the desperate team.
Correct.
Whether that's how it should be or not, both teams 11-1 in the same conference is a little bit interesting, but
Yeah.
that's how it is. And so they need to, fight to tooth and nail. Both these teams have very good defenses. Texas Tech top 5, only giving up 11 points a game. BYU giving up 17 and a half, top 15. Both these teams have good offensive. BYU top 25, 34 points per game.
Yep.
Texas Tech top 5, 43 points a game. But I think that, 12 and a half is too many points. You mentioned it last time they played, the muff punt. They had missed field goal, a couple things that game just kind of got away from them. It was a very ugly rock fight, and that's what I think is going to happen here. I'm also going to be in the under 50 and a half. Both these defenses are very, very good. I understand their offenses pop, but it's typically against lower competition.
Right.
BYU, Texas Tech is a really good team. BYU is clearly the second best team in the Big 12. They've beaten everybody else. Favored underdogs. They beat Utah. They went in Cincinnati and won that game.
Yep.
They beat Iowa State.
Yep.
They are beating good teams. This is a damn solid team.
And for the most part, pretty handily. Most of the time it's by a couple touchdowns. But at the end of the day, I think, like you said, the first game was a rock fight until it wasn't. BYU is one of those teams that they play really good defense. They run the rock, and they're not necessarily built to come back from 20 points down.
Yeah, no.
If they can keep it close, and I think they will, I think this one does come down to a one score game.
Yep. Give me a 20 to 21-17 Texas Tech win, something of that variety there. Even like a
27-17, something like that. Yeah.
Right. Yep. I just think that 12 and a half is too much. I don't think that it's going to be a major blowout here. And I think that it's in Texas, but I don't think that it's going to be an overwhelmingly Texas Tech crowd. I think they understand that they need to. They're looking to probably either host or get college football playoff tickets, right? Yep. If we're being honest, I know they got money in Texas, but we saw this last year when the teams know that there's going to be a first round playoff game or a playoff game in the horizon. They don't show up as much, right? And it makes sense. BYU knows this is kind of do or die for them. So I do think that they are a fan base that travels well. So it'll be a little bit more split there, even if it's in Texas. So both on BYU with the big number there, plus 12 and a half. All right. We are now moving on to the SEC Championship, another rematch here where we have the 11-1 Georgia Bulldogs taking on the 10-2 Alabama Crimson Tide. You got Georgia laying the 2.5 minus 135, over under sitting at 47.5. Alabama catching the 2.5 plus 114 on the money line. This is in Atlanta, Georgia, in that dirty Mercedes-Benz Stadium there. That dome. Chick-fil-A will be open on the Saturday there, but I don't like this. This is whatever. That stadium, I've been to it. It's nice, but let's go outside. It's December. Come on, let's play football. But this is gonna be a good game. It seems like the only team that can beat Georgia in the past 5 years is Alabama. Yeah. And Alabama, although they're underdogs in 10-2, this is an interesting one. So I'm curious where you're going here.
Yeah, no, I think both of these teams are coming off of close victories against rival teams in Georgia Tech and Auburn. But I think you kind of mentioned it. I mean, DeBoer, for whatever reason, has Kirby Smart's number over the last year or so. So I do think Alabama gets a win here and brings my future home. But I think this one's going to be a close one. I think it's going to come down to the wire just like it did, a couple months ago when they played down there in Athens. But I think that I think it's the Tide's time. I think that the Tide is turning, and Alabama is getting back into SEC crowning. They're gonna
champion. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do the damn thing.
I think they're gonna be sitting on the throne.
Yeah, it's a familiar place for Alabama.
No doubt.
And
for both of these teams, if we're being honest. But
yeah, I was gonna say, and Georgia. I mean, it's another Bama Georgia SEC championship. But this is always a great game. As much as I hate more Georgia being a Florida fan, but don't love Bama either. This is a great game. I think you're on the right side. I'm going to go for the total here. Give me the over 47.5.
Okay.
24-21 game, Bama victory in between the hedges last game. Obviously would have went under. However, there was a missed field goal. Alabama was running out the clock a little bit, and that was a lot more of a high pressure situation. I think that from one standpoint, Georgia knows they're in the playoff again. Alabama likely in the playoff as well, but 3 losses, you start to question.
Yeah.
I still think they wouldn't do that to their queen, Alabama, or king, whatever you want to call them there, the CFP. But I think Alabama's going to be a little bit more desperate. And here's the really big thing. Both offenses average 30-plus points, but it's the defenses. I can't trust either defense completely yet.
You can't.
Alabama's rush defense, giving up 124 yards per game. Georgia, really good at running the ball, whether it's their myriad of running backs, by committee, or Stockton. He's a damn good runner. He's a gamer. Yeah. And then you look at the other side of the ball. Georgia, giving up over 200 yards in through the air. Questionable pass defense.
Yeah.
I don't think that's been fixed. I think they've just played teams that can't take advantage of it. Alabama took advantage of it last time they played. Ty Simpson is a Heisman candidate, one of those top 4 likely. Some of that's brand name. The Oklahoma game didn't help, but they still have 3 of the better wide receivers in college football in Bernard, Ryan Williams, and Horton there coming over from Miami. And they got a really good quarterback. So I think both these teams are going to put up points. I think, this is going to be closer to a 27-24 game, if not, 35-31, something like that. Like I said, I do ultimately think that you're on the right side, being on the Bama side. But I would rather just fade the defenses and take the points here. So give me the over 47.5. You are on the Alabama Crimson Tide to do what they do. That's beat Georgia. All right, going to the night slate here on Saturday. This is December the 6th here. Nice little nightcap after we've watched 48 hours of football.
Going over to Indy.
We are going to the game I'm most looking forward to here in the Big Ten Championship. We have 2 12-0 absolute juggernauts going to battle here in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. We've got the 12-0 Indiana Hoosiers taking on the 12-0 Ohio State Buckeyes there. Indiana is catching 4.5. They're plus 170 on the money line. Over-under sitting at 48.5. Ohio State laying 4.5, minus 205 on the money line. It's going to be 27 degrees and cloudy, but it is a dome. Lucas Oil is a dome, so it doesn't really matter. But for the fans, dress warm. Where are you going in this one here? This is another weird one where both teams know and fan bases know you're pretty much locked into the college football playoff, probably a bye even. So do fan bases show up? Well, you probably won't have to worry about a week 1 game, so maybe you do show up. Like, this is another one that, man, I don't know. So where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I think both fan bases definitely show up. I mean, Bloomington's an hour and a half from Indianapolis.
Right.
Columbus is 3 hours from Indianapolis. So I think both teams show up.
For ticket, and it's going to be for playoff game too.
Well, props to Indiana's AD for seeing this in the future, because their basketball team is playing in Indianapolis the same day, earlier in the day. So, I mean, if you're an Indiana fan, why not
double up, baby?
Do the double and go to the Pacer Stadium. I'm blanking on that name, and then go to Lucas Oil that night to watch this massive showdown. But at the end of the day, I think this comes down to both defenses. I think both defenses are top 5 units in the country. And I think it's going to be a rock fight. I mean, last year we saw this game held in the shoe. And early on, neither team wanted to push the ball down the field. Neither team wanted to take a chance to take control of that game. And the Buckeyes just basically held back and waited for Indiana to have a couple mishaps with special teams. So I think this game is going to be played fairly similarly. Now, like you were mentioning before, with some mishaps with the BYU Texas Tech game, I don't expect Indiana punter just to flat out drop the ball like you did this past year. So I do think that this is going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to stay away from a side and just go with the under 48.5. I don't see either team really pushing the ball down the field a whole lot in the first half and maybe potentially the second half. I think it's going to be a lot of feeling out for the majority of the game, similar to the semifinal against Texas last
Yeah.
year, where neither team really wanted to take a hold of it, and it was just back and forth, tick for tack, until somebody makes a mistake.
Yeah, until Sawyer there ruins my hopes with Texas there. But hey, it was a great play. All right, the Ohio State fan not taking a side. That makes me feel even better about the side I will be on, which is the Indiana Hoosiers plus 4.5. It was plus 5.5 a little bit earlier, so it's catching some steam. So you probably want to grab it now if you're on the Indiana side.
So
You're
in
telling me,
the personal portfolio, I took a side, but
okay, all right. Well, whatever. If you're too afraid to put it out there, I understand. But look, you're telling me I get a 12-0 top 5 offense, top 5 defensive team that's catching or more than a field goal? Yeah, I'm taking Indiana. Give me Indiana plus 4.5 there. Now, one favorite game on the slate. I cannot wait to see how both these teams measure up because let's be honest, in Ohio State, beating everyone but one team by double digits. Indiana has beaten everyone but 2 teams by double digits, but they have won every single game. I would say Ohio State's hardest game were at Michigan, at Illinois, and Texas. I don't think any of those teams are a legit good college football playoff team. Um, they might be top 50, maybe, but they have talent. But I don't think any of those teams are really that good.
who's that?
Michigan, Illinois, and Texas.
Okay,
Who are
so because my guess is you're going to bring up Indiana not playing anybody either,
Yeah, in a similar vein,
right?
yes. I do think they beat their best wins. I would say would be at Iowa, at Oregon, and Illinois. Again,
Okay,
I just said Illinois is not very good.
right.
Iowa is limited in their ability and on offense.
Who's
And
favored, Texas or Iowa?
Texas or Iowa?
Yeah,
Who's favored or who am I taking? Because I'm
who's
taking
favored?
Iowa
Who's
all
favored?
day. Yeah, okay. I would say Texas is favored, but I am taking Iowa 1,000% there in that game. But I agree. The main point is I'm excited to see how both these
Oh
teams
yeah,
match up
yeah.
because I
Oh
do
yeah,
think that
definitely.
these are two of the best teams in the country,
Yep.
and I do think there's a good chance they see each other again.
Yes.
So I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on Indiana plus 4.5. I just think, honestly, if it was the other way, if Ohio State was getting the more than a field goal, I'd be on them because I
I
just think
just want to also remind people, obviously, completely different quarterbacks. Mendoza's has been a stud,
right
uh, but last year Curtis Rourke threw for 68 yards,
in
and
the shoe,
he was 8 for 18.
not in a dome.
This
Uh,
defense is better than the one last year. They get more pressure on the quarterback than they did last year. So
let's see him stop the run. That's what I want to see. Indiana, one of the best rushing teams in the nation. So,
Michigan is too.
uh, Michigan. All right, we'll see. I'm excited for this one. I'm very excited, but I'm happy to be technically not even on different sides, but clearly in the personal kitty, you've got some Ohio State there. But I'm on Indiana plus 4.5. I think this is going to be a field goal game. I think they have a really good shot to win this outright. And I cannot wait for this one. You are on a under 48.5, which if I was taking a side, I'd probably be there with you, which tells me in a lower scoring game, you typically want to take the dog if you're catching more than a field goal. But, I digress. We move on. All right, last game on the slate here, and then we'll do our best bets and get the hell on out of here. Saturday, December 8th.
This might be my favorite game
8
going into the
p.m.
week.
Eastern time. Nice little nightcap here. ACC championship.
I'm not even going to get to watch it.
The ugly stepchild of the Power Four. For what's going on here, you've got the 7-5 Duke Blue Devils taking on the 10-2 Virginia Cavaliers. Two more basketball schools that nobody probably thought was in the ACC championship, except me, because I have a 12-1 ticket on the Virginia Cavaliers to win the ACC. So let's see if they can knock it out here. Duke plus 3.5, plus 140 on the money line. Over under sitting at 57.5. Virginia minus 3.5, minus 108, minus 166 on the money line. This is in Bank of America Stadium there where the Panthers play in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be 43 degrees and clear. So a little chilly, but both these teams coming from neighboring states, Charleston, not Charleston.
I think I would have rathered the 43 and clear versus the last time you and I went to an ACC championship
Jeez,
game.
what was that? Rain.
Monsoon.
Watching Trevor Lawrence and them boys. Was it
Kenny
Lawrence
Pickett.
or was it Deshaun Watson?
It was Watson.
Yeah, Watson and then destroy Pitt and whoever the hell we had, 6-6
Yeah.
Pitt team in the ACC championship. Yeah, that was fun, but not so much. So yeah, no, this is good there. Yeah, obviously Durham not that far from Charlotte,
Not at all.
and then Charlottesville also not that far from Charlotte. So expect both these teams to show up in two teams that haven't been in the ACC championship in a long time, maybe ever. So where are we going in this one? Obviously, records wise, you would say, why is this even going to be a game?
Yeah.
But only 3.5 point spread. So where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, and this is another one that the number stinks. It just there's something about it that something's up.
Right.
Because again, we just saw this matchup a couple weeks ago. This is another rematch that was held in Duke or at Duke.
Yeah.
And Virginia doubled them up and won 34-17. So I think this number is really smelly. But at the end of the day, Duke has been one of the most inconsistent teams the entire season. They've played pretty well the last couple weeks, beating a couple rivals in UNC and Wake. But at the end of the day, I think you got to take the Cavaliers in this one. Obviously, they won a couple weeks ago, and they just manhandled Tech this past weekend in a rivalry game. So I think Duke playing back-to-back rivals to end their season after losing to Virginia Tech, Virginia, excuse me, yeah. I think Virginia's just in a really good spot here. They probably have the better roster as a whole. Give me the Cavaliers laying the points.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar to the Boise State handicap, and very similar to this number was at 2.5. Now it's rising to 3.5. So I expect this to keep climbing. The casuals will come in, they'll see the records, they'll see that they played, and I'm going to be on the same side with Virginia. Not only did they beat Duke 34-17, that game was 31-3 going into the fourth quarter. So Duke dressed that up a bit. This was not a game. This was one where a lot of people were expecting Duke to show up, and that's the problem. Duke has been extremely inconsistent, as you mentioned. Now, people are going to say both these teams played Wake Forest. Duke beat them. Virginia lost to them. Virginia didn't have Chandler Morris, their starting quarterback, in that game. That's a huge difference. Chandler Morris has only lost once this season when they've had him at quarterback. Meanwhile, Mensa and Duke, talented team, probably can argue from a stars and talent roster standpoint, they're more talented. But I can tell you Virginia is a more consistent and better team. And that's what I care about at the end of the season. Give me Virginia there. Mensa and Duke, they put up yards, but they turn the ball over so damn much. I think Virginia is a much cleaner team. I think they're more disciplined, and I think ultimately they're going to get it done. And don't love to be on the conspiracy side, but you're telling me that the ACC and the College Football Playoff Committee don't want Virginia to win this game?
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest here, folks. And I hate to do this but I've been watching enough football for the past couple of years that you're telling me there's not an agenda, especially in the ACC, with what they do with Miami and some of these other teams. Yeah, I'm going to say Virginia's going to get a friendly whistle here, and I think that's going to help them in this one if they need it. Give me Virginia. There's no way the College Football Playoff Committee, because they're going to put in Duke over a 12-1 JMU team, and that's going to not go over so well. So they want Virginia to win this very badly, and I got a 12-1 future on them to win this. So I'm definitely not backing away from that one. All right, my friend, it is time for my favorite part of the show because we get to continue winning people some money. It is the best bet segment. Not our final lock because we will do a sweet CFP show. But of the normal season, final best bets. What is your lock for conference championship weekend?
Yeah, we just talked about it. Give me Virginia laying the 3.5. They play defense. Duke doesn't. I mean, I think this one's the easiest one on the board.
Yeah. In a very similar vein, I will be going Boise State minus 3.5, minus 115 there. A little bit of juice at this point. Dome team going outdoors to play on the Smurf turf. Last Mountain West game for Boise State in their history here. Boise State's going to show up. They get the quarterback back. They're going to roll against the Dome UNLV running Rebs. So I'm on Boise State minus 3.5. You are on Virginia. Moneyline dog. Where are you going in this one?
Alabama. Give me my future. I think said for basically the entire season, outside of that week 1 loss to Florida State, which made me a little nervous. Give me Bama money line plus 114.
Like it. I do
Actually,
like
I
it.
got a plus 120 over at Bet365.
There you go. Shop around for these. As we mentioned this early on, but in other episodes, but we give out the lines from DraftKings because it's just easier. But yes, please shop around, get the best number. Yep. Indiana money line plus 170. You're telling me you're giving me a 12-0 top 5 offense, top 5 defense in the country, and they're a dog in the state of Indiana? Come on now, folks. What are we doing? Last year was last year. Give me Indiana money line plus 170. Where's the tease in this one?
Tease. Let me take my money line dog with Bama and tease them up to 8.5. Let me tease BYU up to 18.5. And then I'll tease the OSU Indiana game up to 54.
Like it. There you go.
Under there. Yeah.
Nice 6-point tease plus 140 there. For myself, I'm going to go totals all the way, which don't typically love to do in college football.
Yeah, you're not much of a totals guy.
No, but I like these this week, and everyone loves a good agenda. So give me the BYU, Texas Tech, 2 very good defenses under 55.5. Yeah. Give me the Georgia, Bama over 41.5, and give me the Duke, Virginia over 51.5. Plus 140 there. Look, not a lot of defense is going to get played in the ACC. I think Bama and Georgia can both score, and I think Tech and BYU are going to be in a hell of a rock fight.
Really good defenses.
Really good football.
I like that.
All right, you've got a parlay with me this week. So what are you doing with your parlay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Bama money line plus 120.
Right.
And then give me Duke, Virginia, tease that down actually to 49.5. I think this is going to be I think this is going to be a little bit of a rock fight too. I just don't think that that Duke's going to score very much.
All right. I mean, I obviously will not be rooting for that one, but good luck. Best of luck to you.
We just saw this a couple weeks ago.
We did. And what did it land on? 51?
I think it was 51, but
so I would win. We would both lose in that situation. So let's hold out for 51. But I mean, we'll see. I could see it. If Virginia steps up, you never know what you're going to get at Duke. So I will say that.
I think this is going to be like a 28-21 game.
Okay. All right. Right on the number. There you go. For my parlay, give me Boise on the money line. Give me Bama on the money line. Give me Tulane on the money line at a nice juicy 6-1 plus 612 there. Boise rolls on the Smurf turf. Bama owns Georgia as they always do, and Tulane takes care of North Texas as they've done the past 2 years. All right, let's do a quick recap and then get on out of here and enjoy the rest of our week. For Professor Locks here, the lock is Virginia minus 3.5, minus 108. Bama money line plus 120. You can get it at Bet365. And then the tees, BYU, Bama, and Ohio State, Indiana, under 54 at plus 140, 6-point tees. And for the DGen parlay, Bama money line and Duke, Virginia, under 49.5 at plus 202. For myself,
it's not 202. I'll pull that up while you do that.
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You pull up what those actual odds are because the alt under is
is 202. Yes.
Understood. All right. Well, then write it down on the sheet. Gosh, damn it.
I know.
All right. For myself, lock Boise State money line, or Boise State minus 3.5, minus 115 on the Smurf turf against UNLV. The money line dog is the Indiana Hoosiers taking on those Buckeyes plus 170. The tees, BYU, Texas Tech under 55.5. Georgia, Bama over 41.5, and Duke, Virginia over 51.5, 6-point tees plus 140. For my DGen parlay, it is Boise State on the money line, Bama on the money line, and Tulane on the money line at plus 612. Do you have your number, sir? All right, I will filibuster as he gets that down. Look, folks, that is going to be it for the college football conference championship weekend there. We've got Friday football. We've got Saturday football. And if you want to continue it with Sunday, Monday, and Thursday football, we do an NFL Best Bets episode. Derek is coming off a heater.
578. Plus 578.
Plus 578 there for the parlay of Bama Moneyline and Duke, Virginia under 49.5 for my man, Professor Locks. But as I was saying, if you want football all the time, we also do an NFL show coming off a heater there. We were 6-2 on our locks, and we were 5-1 on our props last episode. You're going to want to join the winning team over there.
Only missed the 3-1. Damn it.
Yeah, really. I know. That comes out tomorrow night on Wednesdays. We obviously do the college now. What do you got for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I mean, we only have so many weeks left. We only have the championship weekend. We do have Army Navy coming up next weekend, but then we're college football playoff time, and
hell yeah, Army Navy, baby.
We're getting really, really close to our goal of 1,000 subscribers on the channel. Since the beginning of the season, that was our goal all year long. You guys have been amazing, smashing the subscribe button. If a few more of you could just take 2 seconds and hit that button, that would be great. Help us show the bosses that we're worth keeping around and keeping things free here. So, we appreciate everything. Expect nothing, but if you could just press that button, that'd be great.
Hey man, season of giving, right? It's coming along. Right. That's all we ask for. Never going to charge for picks. Always going to try to give out winners absolutely free, and definitely going to talk ball, and hopefully going to be enjoyable for your guys to listen to. All right, folks. Hey, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Spent the time with some family. Enjoyed some good football. We still got some football left, as Derek mentioned. We've only got about a month more of college football, so you want to take advantage here. Hopefully you're catching some futures with us and cashing these bets.
Oh, yeah.
You know what they say, folks. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the DJ Docs, we've got your prescription from Professor Locks and Doc here on DFSG Plus. We are out of here.